Hello there, this is your host, Lost in Character, and tonight I'm going to be showing you how to fight with weapons in VR. But if you are joining for the first time, please give the channel a follow. Streaming on Twitch and YouTube. And I've made other videos showing how to use fencing techniques in VR and other martial arts. Wing Chun, hand-to-hand combat, check out some of my videos about that. But for the most part, all of the basics are the same. I'm going to kind of fly through them, and then I'm going to use different weapons. Single-handed sword, two swords, two-handed swords, three-handed swords. Pole axes, fighting with the hatchet, fighting with the shield. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. And basically, alright, well, let's just start off with the basics. So basically, the way that you fight and you fence is in a guard. Now, if you want to think about it like this, like if you're getting in a street fight, nobody's fighting like this. You're turning your body. So like, you got your power hand back here. That's like your power strike. Is your one that's winded up. And then your front one is almost like your defensive arm slash, just slight offensive, but it's not really, you can't get a whole lot of power without swinging up. So, this is kind of your defensive side. This is kind of your offensive side. So the way that the fencing guards work is they're basically two guards. Is if your shoulder is forward, you're in the iron gate or porta di ferro. And if your dominant shoulder is backward, you're in if your dominant shoulder is backward, then you're in the long tail or codalunga. These are Italian guards that were from the 1500s. They were taught in Bologna, Italy. And yeah, this is the style of fencing that I know. And it includes other weapons as well. So basically, the idea of the guards is the same across all weapons. So if you have a spear, this is the iron gate because your dominant shoulder is forward. This is the long tail because your dominant shoulder is now backwards. So you want to think about it like that. Like that's the only two ways you can really be. And when you swing a weapon, you tend to go from shoulder backward to forward to backward to forward because it does actually have weight in real life. In VR, it doesn't have weight, but essentially that's how you want to use the body mechanic the same way, especially in games where you get caught up on your own weapons or your own body. That's how you actually avoid getting attacked. Attacking yourself. So. The two guards. Well, first, let me get some gin and juice. Yes, I'm laid back. You know the rest. So, the simplest form is the idea of the one-handed weapon. So I'll use a sword. This could be an axe or whatever, just a one-handed weapon. So, whether your dominant shoulder is forward or backward, it doesn't really matter how you defend. You're going to defend the same way either way. So there's kind of four gates, I'll call them, or four quadrants of the body. So anything coming above your waist is your upper gates. Anything coming below your waist is your lower gates. And you can think about dividing in the middle. You have left and right. So, essentially four gates. And you want to think about how you would defend each one of those gates to dictate how you fight. So, first of all, you don't want to have your sword up here because it doesn't do you any good. You want your arms straight and your point forward in a threatening and defensive position. The closer you are to them, the easier you can defend, the wider your cone of defense is. Especially in VR when these things don't really have weight and you can block with the the weak part of your sword, just kind of like that. So you want to think about anything coming in the waist, above the waist. You're going to use this defensive cone. Whether your dominant shoulder's forward in Porta di Ferro or the Iron Gate, or if your dominant shoulder's backward in the long tail guard or Codalunga. So you can kind of, you can turn it wide if you want to be more defensive. You can turn it forward if you want to be more offensive. Take a hit or parry here, and then step forward and stab or cut. And that's why it's called the long tail, is because your arm is cocked back and ready, and you can step forward. It's supposed to be used with a shield or a parrying dagger or something like that. Like, you basically, fighting with two weapons is one of them's in the Iron Gate, defensive and forward, and one of them is in the long tail. It doesn't matter which one it is. It's wherever your dominant shoulder is. So, long tail is my dominant shoulder. Iron Gate. So this can defend my head, my outside, or my inside. This can be offensive. This is kind of, think of it as a dagger or something. This is not as offensive, so my focus is on this. This is just added in. And then same thing here. And that's kind of how you want to play a dagger, is you want to keep it out front so you can defend with it and then attack with this. But I digress. Either way. So above the waist, you want to do this cone of defense. If it's coming below the waist, most AIs are right-handed because most people are right-handed. So most of your attacks are going to come from your left side here, either high or low. So, above the waist, we already talked about that. That can defend your whole body like this. Below the waist, you turn your point to the floor. It means you turn your whole hand, your whole wrist. But basically think about it like the point to the floor and move to the outside. And you don't want to go here, because that's not really defending low. If you think about it, you don't want to turn and move at the same time, because you're only defending above your waist there. You want to turn your point to the floor first and then move. So that's good practice. In the off chance it comes down here, most attacks don't come from there. It would be like me attacking this way. But some enemies spin around and do like an under strike. So if it's coming to your lower right gate, just sweep out this way. So your 4 gates: defend here, defend here, defend here, defend here. That's the Iron Gate. If you're in the long tail, defend here, and see how you have to turn your body there to get to the other side. You kind of want your weight in your front foot because it allows you to pivot. So same gate here, or same defense for this gate here, same defense for this gate here. And you can also, you can turn this, the defense down here. That can be the same thing above your head too. But, either way, it's defending this way, defending this way. And if it's low, you defend that way. Same thing, you have to turn your body. And then, and then coming low this way to your right, you can flick it out that way. So, that's with the one-handed sword. From there, every block can be followed up with an attack. Block here, stab. Block here, cut from this direction or cut from this direction. One thing that is important to note is, if you're standing in the Iron Gate and you're defensive and you're forward, you could attack this way. That involves lifting your whole arm above your head, It's pretty aggressive. Powerful, yes. But what you can do is you turn your wrist over towards the floor and you whip it around this way. So you're not really moving your arm really all that much. You're dropping the sword and then you're whipping it. You know, in real life that would be, you would use the momentum there, but in VR it doesn't matter. So you just turn your wrist over because it defends your entire body and it delivers a high velocity when weight's not a factor. I mean, in real life, even that's the best way to do it with a sword anyway. Instead of doing this hackety slashety, you just do bam. So those are the basics. Let me turn the music back on because, you know, I gotta give the guys credit that made this game. It's well done. It's very well done, and it's entertaining. They got all the weapons right. Alright, so this is I'm in the Goblin Cave. So this is gonna be a good opportunity to use low defenses. For the goblins in this game anyway, I like to use a longsword. So I'll just say this real quick before I get into it, but I'll use a single-handed sword. But the defenses with a two-handed sword and a single-handed sword are basically the same. Like, just pretend this is a one-handed sword. You know, this is how I would defend my 4 gates. But with a two-handed sword, it's basically the same thing. Defend this way, defend this way. So you have to kind of turn your body or step and switch your feet. You know, that's kind of how you defend your upper gates. And then your lower gates is you just, same thing, you turn your wrist to the floor. This comes up. It's this kind of this wheel cut kind of idea where it defends your whole body and it delivers the velocity without being, you can, same thing if you want to swing from the, from the left side, you just turn it over, deliver it that way. It has to do with pulling the pommel. Another thing you can do with the longsword that you can't really do with the single-handed sword is you can pull your hand up, your backhand, and then drop your point in front of your body to defend. It's kind of like a coverall, and then you spin around and hit. But I'll get to the... Stay tuned for the longsword. That was just a taste. Okay. These motherfucking goblins. Give me that gold. Alright, so I'm in the long tail guard here. They got me a few times, not gonna lie. You bastards. So this is my battle mage build. I have a decent whoa. Oh, that could be fun. Alright. Save that one for later. Okay, so single-handed weapons. You know, you're seeing me do these defenses when the goblins come from their right side, which is, you know, the simple right-handed attack that most humans and most AIs will do, you know, most often. So you defend it up here or you defend it down here, and you saw a lot of the goblins because they swing low. I'm defending it down here, or I'm defending it out this way. He shouldn't have got me there, but because when you defend it, you can turn it over. And then stab. You punch him in the face. Alright. Where is my next victim? Actually, I gotta go into this tomb. Did you guys hear about that thing with the pyramids? How it's like they're detecting some hollow shit, like these pillar-like interference in their satellite fucking models. I looked into that shit, and it's basically you've got the technology that looks at it can't penetrate the earth. It can only go about 5 meters, let's say. And what it does is it looks at micro vibrations on the earth, which is very strange, but it's somehow able to track as the earth is spinning these vibrations and like basically gather data of what might be below. And this technology has been proven to work in several different things. So it's legit. It's legit technology. But you know, for them to detect that so deep, it's supposed to be like hundreds of meters or something down, or you know, the metric system. But it's a shit ton of the way down, and there's already caves, you know, under the pyramids. But yeah, long story short, I don't know. I'm skeptical. Campsite entrance, cave entrance, the land of fortitude. That sounds like where I should go. So, the idea of the battle mage is kind of like using a parrying dagger with your wand. So, you know, you have your main weapon, and that's what you want to build strength in your stats. Somehow I have a lot of intellect. I guess I haven't actually played this game in a while, but I had a pretty good strategy. This is your parrying weapon. Same as a dagger. You can hit with it, but you can also just, you know, set fireball or thunder break, frigid blast. You can set these things on here, and then when you're fighting, you can defend, and then pop it off. Oops. How do we use these? Yeah, go. Huh. I'm notoriously bad for throwing things in VR games, I will say. Must have my gin and juice. And the mouth is quite dry. Alright. Enough dicking around. Let's get into the fray. Let's show some actual fucking combat. I guess I'm gonna try these fireballs out. Also, it's good to grab barrels and stuff, you know. Break all this shit. Not that gold really means anything, because you die so much, it's like you can never really keep your gold shit. And you lose like a third of it or something. But you want to be efficient with your strikes. See how I'm not like this, swinging all this shit? You're going to hurt your hands, you're going to hurt your joints. You know? You're going to break your fingers on shit. Just do it with your wrist. All these strikes can be done with your wrist. With your hand, is, you know, your hand's barely moving. Think about it that way. Be the most efficient you can. Like defend. You know, that's why you want your arms straight and your point forward. Is, you know, say this tree is my enemy. Oh, here we go. So arms straight and point forward. I don't even know where he's swinging. But you know, this is kind of how you, I mean, in the game they're not going to walk right onto your point, but in real life he wouldn't be able to just walk up on me, because it's like, it's right in his fucking face. You got to give it some oomph, I guess, in some games. But in reality, well, that one was my weak. That actually was pretty good physics there. It's supposed to be like, you know, a real sword. You want to block with the strong part of your sword. Like if you divide it in half, you have the strong part and the weak part. Like you want to parry stuff with this area, and you want to attack and smack stuff away, and you know, with the end. So defending with the end, it kind of works in VR, especially if you have the velocity, but you know, it's a little unrealistic. Small critique. Oh wait. Alright, so ooh. So, you know, from the iron gate, it's pretty easy to just turn your wrist over and deliver a strike either from the right side. Oop. I'm about half health, that's not bad. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, son of a bitch. I forgot how to heal. I guess I was pressing buttons trying to fucking... Alright. Well, let me get back to my body. Hello, it is me. where's my shit? At least as the battle mage, you have a decent amount of mana that you can dash with. Yeah. See, with those guys, you wanna take a low guard. So like. So yeah, like, you know, I was saying Portrait de Fer is usually this, but you'd have it down here, so it's really easy to defend low. That's what I would suggest for these goblins, is keep your sword down here, because, you know, they're not really going to attack above your waist, so just keep it low. You know, you can have it high, you can have it forward. Really, there's like a few variations of the guards. You know, you can have it here, you can have it here, you can have it back here. But that's, you know, beyond the point. You kind of just use your instincts at some point. But, you know, just showing you how to defend. So, let's, Oh, I gotta find my shit. Alright, so shield in the mix. So, the cool thing about VR now is, like, it makes a buckler actually worth using. Instead of normal RPGs, it's just some stupid thing that you would use and just equip, maybe if you were like a rogue or something. But it's you're able to use it and work the sword around it. They're throwing like human hearts or something at me. Ah, where'd you come from? So, you know, we'll talk about shields. I love the shield. You know, so the idea of Kodalunga is almost for the idea of a shield. You know, either way, when you're fencing, you're going to find yourself with your dominant shoulder backward, and that's still a guard if you just want to hold it and defend there. But it's really meant to have something else. So, like with a buckler, you don't want to hold it in front of your chest and just defend this small area. You want to keep it forward, because the more forward it is, like attacks, you know, there's a cone of defense. The closer you are to whatever it is, like I can only hit, you know. But the idea is that, you know, buckler's small is meant to defend your hand. So, in Portrait de Fer, when your dominant shoulder's forward, the buckler's out here, and it kind of follows your sword. And if you defend, you can keep the buckler there and attack or something like that. But you know, in Kodalunga, you would usually kind of want to fight with a shield, whether it's like this or if it's like one of these, you know, a bigger shield, you don't want to be like this. I mean, you can, but in reality, you want to be like this. You want your arm forward, because this defends as much as this, if not more, and it's easier to react to. So, like, if you know, if attack's coming this way, you know, let's call it like this angle. You know, you have so much to work with if your shield's forward instead of here. Here it's like, you know, maybe if you have a long spear, but you want it out. That I can't block that fucking spear guy. So like when you're using a shield, you want to defend primarily with your sword, as if the shield wasn't there. The shield just helps. Ooh, that's kind of a cool thing. Damage enemies with frost status. So, I actually don't really like the big shields, but for these guys, it's almost a false sense of security though, because as you could see, when I tried to go low, it didn't even help. Ooh. Don't usually wear slippers when I play VR. My feet are cold. See, I need to like do a magic thing here. No, that's not magic thing. Okay, here we go. Fireball here. Thundercloud here. Oh wait, that was anticlimactic. Fuck you, spear guy. Little shit. So I usually use the two-handed sword against the goblins. So this is as good a time as any. Give me that gold. See how effortless it is to turn your hand over and swing this way instead of going. You can even whip your hand around and do like one of these twisty things. Really increase the velocity of your point. Alright, so that's kind of that's the two-handed, the one-handed sword. That's fighting with an accompanied thing. You know, these aren't good enemies to use the dagger on, but you get the idea. You treat the dagger kind of like a shield, and I treat my wand like a dagger. So everything works out great. I'm good. I'm gonna use this two-handed sword here and show y'all what up with it. We got someone in the chat. This is Legendary Tales. Oh shit, do I have... I think I might have my Twitch thing set to... Well, you're on YouTube, so... Okay, so So with the two-handed sword, like I said, it's the same as the one-handed sword. So, let's say this is my enemy here. So, the one-handed sword, same thing here. Those are how you defend your 4 gates. Two-handed sword, that's how you defend your 4 gates. You just turn your point to the floor, kind of cross your arms, and you can use this defense. So if you're using the two-handed sword, instead of being like this and trying to swing, I would keep your arms straight and forward, your point forward, and use this wheel cut kind of thing. Instead of doing this, like I was saying, be efficient with your wrist and turn this over. Ooh. You son of a bitch. So, if anyone, you guys have probably played Blade and Sorcery, or at least heard of it. One of the things that bothers me about Blade and Sorcery, hold on, let me, oh, uh-oh, you little cretin. I'm drinking my drink. You son of a bitch. Alright, hold on. This will work for a pole axe or something. Alright, so yeah. With a two-handed sword, you want to be making these swirly twirlies. But okay, actually my gripe about Blade and Sorcery is that you can't be holding the sword this way with your two hands and then raise your backhand to drop the point. That offers a major advantage, and also allows you to do things like this, where like this, where if you dip this point down and swirl it into a circle, it creates a circle there. But in Blade and Sorcery, it won't let you do that. It's all based on where the direction of your fist is going, or your wrist. So you have to do that, when in reality you'd just be kind of holding this here, and then you would move the pommel around in a circle and whip this thing. But you can't do that in Blade and Sorcery. You can't just do this. It looks like this. It looks like where your point stays still when you move your backhand. You can't just do this. You can't do this. But ends up, you can't do whipping motions like if your point's forward here, you can bring it back over your shoulder and then whip it around. Like this is what makes the velocity there. And you turn your wrist over, so it's the backside of your sword. But this is a powerful move. But in Blade and Sorcery, it won't let you do that unless you turn. Like it'll let you turn your wrist, but it just feels fucking weird. And then here, when you're defending here, you can bring it up and whip it around this way, and throw the backside of your sword forward. A falso dritto, as they say. But you can't do this in Blade and Sorcery because you can't whip the palm around. And I know my arms are looking all weird there, but in reality, you bring your point up, and then you dip it down, and then you turn your wrist and throw the backside of your sword forward. You can do it in real life. It's not just like this weird spinning move where you have no body and the sword doesn't matter. Anyway, alright, enough gib gab. Alright, a little bit more with the two-handed sword here. Oh yeah, the walls really restrict your weapon. You can just push them back. And if you don't want to turn your wrist to the floor here and make this defense, it's pretty easy to just do this defense and sweep out this way. You sweep out this way or this way. That's how I'd actually suggest fight against the goblins like that. Like, instead of trying to turn it over, because then you might miss that low shot. Fighting a normal heighted enemy, I would probably prefer this, because this is your perfect defense. Fuck, man. Gold. Nah, you son of a bitch. This is that attack I'm talking about where you whip the pommel around. You're in the iron gate. You can easily swing this way. Kind of turn your body, but then if you just whip your pommel around, instead of doing this shit, it's gonna tie you out. Just spin your hands like this. What you're really doing is holding your arm, your front hand stationary, and moving your back hand around. But you add a little bit. It's only natural, especially if you're not actually holding anything. So the movements are exaggerated for sure, but you want to think about actually holding something. So that's the two-handed sword there. And I'll probably come back to it, but let's fuck with a spear or a poleaxe. well, a long axe is all I guess I have. But this could be anything, a warhammer. Okay, yeah, so you have to hold. There's a button you can hold where you can slide here. But it's not as crucial for the poleaxe kind of weapon. And these guys actually aren't, it's not good for these guys either. They attack too low. So if you are using a poleaxe or something, I would just hold it in the low position and do that. Yeah. So with the poleaxe, you basically want to defend. Actually, let me just take these guys out. Actually, I haven't used my magical abilities in a while. Alright, well, I don't like this axe for fighting these dudes. I was gonna say maybe the longsword, but I will fuck with the spear for now. Alright, so alright, you got a spear. So get out of here. Alright, so you want to treat it the same way. You got your 4 gates. Anything above the waist, anything below the waist, and then you have your left and right. So with the spear, you probably want to stand you want to stand with your dominant shoulder forward and have your back hand close to the handle. Maybe have a little bit sticking out so you can hit. And then you want, in game or in real life, you want to be able to slide. So you want to have about, kind of a shoulder's width to start with. And your bread and butter is going to be this kind of thrust. But the way that you defend your 4 gates is if it's coming high, basically you can defend this way. You can kind of defend all of your body this way. All of your upper body anyway. Or you can do where you drop the point, raise your backhand above your head, and then it's just like you aim this straight pole wherever you want, and it can pretty much block anything. So this will block stuff on your right side, which are most common attacks. Just be mindful of where your point ends up being. And then anything on the left side, you just bring it farther over if you can. You can turn your body out this way, but it's not realistic. And more than, in reality, you would turn your body this way, and then now you're back on that side. So you can go to this side, or to your right side. If you thrust, turn around, be ready to defend this way, but you can cut back in, bam, and then now you're back at your home guard. So, and then you basically want to defend, and then slide and attack, and then defend, slide and attack. yes. I must go up there to find the chest. That's one time I went back to the other yard. Bats too. Man, I wish I was actually fighting real enemies instead of these stupid goblins. Yeah, that's what I might do. I haven't fought any real enemies. There's these stupid tiny dudes. I don't like it. Oh wait, okay, you can do it with grip too. Oh yeah. So I switched my controls up to where well, I use grip for the magic thing. You son of a bitch. Leviosa. I am terrible with the magic. Right now, I haven't practiced in a while. Alright. Alright, health's not bad. What up, what up, what up? Alright, we got more chatters. Same dude. I see golfing. Green goblin. Use the hammer. Alright, I can hear you, dude. I'm using that fucking hammer. Wait, did I grab it? I didn't fucking grab it. I got a hammer with my other character. Alright, next hammer I find. It's gonna be like Looney Tunes. Oh, this is that boss or whatever. Ooh, fire hammer. Oh yeah, I guess that's probably a better poker than the back. You can pop shot him. Alright, well. Fuck, I don't even want to fight this boss guy right now. I want to fight like a human-sized warrior. Fuck. thought there would at least be some scattered in here, but no. Damn it, I should have fucking just killed that boss, but I'm on a mission here. No more fucking goblins. Oh, son of a bitch. Alright. Finally, I think maybe my stuff's back in this. No, damn it. I had a cool, like, ice axe and all that. Somehow it glitched out and I lost it right before I started the stream. I was, like, trying to take it in and out of the storage. Alright, well. Alright, hold on. Okay. Alright. Dude wants the hammer. Okay, so you... Oh, fuck. Alright, I gotta have something. Oh, here. Dude. There it is. Also bring this guy. So, alright. So the way that we want to fight with a hammer or a pole axe. We're using the hammer right now. Oh no, this is the tiny fucking hammer. Ah, the hammer that was back. I know what you're talking about, man. Sorry. I will find a hammer. But let's say this is the hammer for now. Actually, this is probably my favorite pole axe. It's got a little length to it. And I would actually choke up a little bit here. But like, you know, if it's just a hammer, pole axe kind of thing, you want to grip it about, you know, I mean, you could, something like this, maybe like that. But in VR, it's not actually that heavy. So keep it down low on your back hand, and then your front hand, keep about shoulder width. And like, you can, you know, you don't really want to do the spear motion with the pole axe as much, but you definitely want to thrust here. But your main position is with the axe over your shoulder here, and that's why it's good to actually have a little slack if it's longer, because this is your defensive part. So basically, you want to sit here and defend anything coming to your upper gate on the left side here. That's most attacks. Anything coming to this side, you know, you could either throw it up this way, or kind of bring it over your head. You know, like you basically sweep across your body this way in order to defend it. If it's coming low to the outside, I would honestly, you know, you could drop it down, or you could just throw out an attack and then switch up your guard. It's kind of an attack, but it's also a block. And then now you're here and you can thrust, throw it over your shoulder, and then attack back, and now you're in your home again. And you can hit with the pommel. You can do your main attack is just going to be this, whether you step or not. And in VR, you can actually switch your feet. You can put your front foot where your back foot is. So you attack, switch your feet. Now your right foot's forward. And then you stab, defend, or stab, attack. And then either way, you turn your body back to where your home is. If you want to stab and cover your body, get back to your home and then attack again. Or if you want to stab, throw it over your shoulder, attack, and then you're back in your home again. Shit like that, man. That's how you fight with real weapons. Alright, let's go back to these fucking skeletons. Yeah, hook them. So this is the Iron Gate. This is Porta di Ferro. With the dominant shoulder forward. You want to basically, same way as you would a spear, you want to defend your body this way. Because the heavy part's already down low, so you can just kind of defend your whole body that way. From here you can make a powerful strike from the left by defending and then turning your shit over your head. Coming back here, and then you're back to your, you know, Kodalunga position, your long tail, your dominant shoulder backward. So that's most strikes, right? Most strikes are going to come overhand right strikes. So your upper left gate is the most common. That guy wasn't even worth fighting. You there, sir. I hear this town is quite dreary. Oh yes, you are. Oh, I hate these guys with their little sickle things. That's why it helps to have this thing forward, because it's just in their space. So, you know, guys swinging those little daggers and shit, they're just not gonna, they're gonna run into your pole and you shove it in their face. So I mean, yeah, you could play the pole axe like this, just like a spear, and then be ready to bring the hammer down either this direction and switch your body, or this direction. Or see, I would do this. That's what I'm saying. Instead of going up and down, you spin around this way. Pop them. Oh wait, that was the wrong way. Right, is that it? This? Oh no, okay. Pop them, go out this way. Strong. All the way around. It's defending your whole body because it's creating a circle. And then you're delivering an attack as you're defending. So even if they're coming in with something from this direction over kind of where that light would be, you're turning over, you're defending here, you're defending here, and then at the end, you're defending right as you attack. And it's almost, you almost can't counter it. It's one of the German master strikes. The idea of like a diagonal forward right-sided attack. I say I missed him, but it attacks and defends. The Zornhau. Or maybe that's more for a two-handed sword. Where you're either up here or you're usually back here, and instead of just swinging forward, you swing off to the right. Bam, Zornhau. But the Italians would call that a mandrito. The boss is there. I have no quarrels with him now. Alright, so what else do we need to showcase here? Honestly, alright. I'm going to do this real quick. And then I'm just going to use what I would normally use. But, okay, for double-handed spear, this can be probably one of the most OP weapons in the game. Put the, put it about, not necessarily shoulder width, but like, if you just lay your hands relaxed like you're doing a barbell, like something like close. And basically, take a sip here. Actually, let me check on this chat here. Oh, I'll go back to the. I'm looking for hammer lefty. I'll go back to the poleaxe in a sec, but I want to show how OP a double spear can be in VR. So you want your hand a little bit closer. And the idea is the same as all the other guards. Iron Gate, Portrait di Ferro, your dominant shoulders forward, your arms are straight, your points out forward, and you're defending your body this way. You're dropping it low, you're bringing it around. But with the double blade, and because it's shorter, to defend your right side, instead of going all the way over here, you could bring this around the bottom and do a sweeping motion this way, kind of like you do with the pole arm, but this is a little more versatile. But with the double spear, you can do shit like this, especially when it doesn't actually affect your body. You can basically do a wheel of death, and you can be in Kodalunga here, and you would defend the same way as you normally would with anything. But actually, no, you wouldn't. It's not a sword. You're using kind of, so if you're in the long tail guard, you could probably be like this. You could stab, you could cut, you could treat it kind of like an axe, or you could treat it kind of more like a sword, where if you could attack from this side, you would just go around this way, sweep around your body. So this is your cone of defense with a spear or an axe, is this. And if it's going low, it's either out this way or this way. So, with the hammer or poleaxe, this is your defensive cone in the long tail guard, dominant shoulder back, and this is your defensive guard in the Iron Gate, dominant shoulder forward. If it's going low, you swing out this way. If it's going low to the right, you can dip down and swing around this way, and either go up to here, or go up to here, or go up to here. And you just get into your right-sided guard, your power move, and then you just deliver it. Instead of stepping forward in VR, like when you're playing, instead of stepping into your wall, you just switch your feet and step forward and backward based on the position you started at. So that's kind of how I've got around ruining my computers and my monitors. Oh wait, I was going to show you the double spear. All right. Especially if this thing had minimum damage +2 or whatever. you can just like but you know that's not realistic. You know, you don't want to just do a speeding with a death. How you'd actually fight with this, something like this. You know, you don't want to cut yourself, so you're defending this way and you're attacking either horizontally from either direction. It's the same way you fight with the bow staff, or this direction, or this direction. Poopy. All right. Bam. I guess I'm gonna have to go here to get some real fucking people to fight, not just little tiny goblin bitches. All right. Damn it. I wish I got my shit back. Alright, let's see. Porter's Lodging. Collapsed mine. Sounds like gems. Alright, let's see. What's let me get the hang of this fucking magic again. It's been a while. So I got my frosty shit. Leviosa. Oh shit. See, like when you're fighting with a dagger or a wand in this case, you want to keep your, you know, a dagger would stab him there, but you basically want to keep this out in front. It's almost like your shield. Basically, might as well be a shield, but you're pairing with, you know, this. So it's a little more finesse involved. You have to either aim higher or lower, but you treat it like a mini sword. You know, the same way that you do. So that's the thing. When you fight with two swords, let's see. All right, let me actually show you some two sword fighting here. So fighting with two swords is just like fighting with one sword, but you're adding the second sword as the second guard. So this is the iron gate with your dominant shoulder forward. This is defensive. This is the long tail with your left side. So when you would defend your inside low like this on that in your dominant hand, you have to do the opposite. It's basically like you're left-handed fighting. So when you switch, this is now your defensive sword, and this is your offensive sword. So you switch like this. You keep your arm straight and you point forward. You focus on defending the enemy's attacks with this, and then you do follow-up strikes. And you have to work outside of your own swords. And actually, fighting with two swords is pretty dang hard. If you don't know how to do it, it's not worth it. But you treat them like the same sword almost. And you basically, you keep them together. So, in the Iron Gate, I would defend my 4 gates this way. I would go here, and you widen your triangle. If it's low, it only makes sense to go low with 1. So that's the thing, when you block, that's why you want your point forward, because when you do block, you can just stab. You can attack and defend at the same time. So once you get used to defending, if you want to practice, I would just stay in the game and just practice defending and kill all the bats that you see. Just size up a dude. Maybe not one with a spear, because they're a little ornery. A good defense with 2 swords is this too. It's kind of an X, but not like this. I mean, it can be like this, but you want to keep it forward. It's more effective. Stupid bat. Alright, I'm actually going to put this guy away. Ooh, I'll do bow fighting in a second. I actually have a whole bow class. Yeah, man, this hammer is small. Doink, doink. So that was the time I missed my dagger block. Oh, double parry with the dagger. I love the blood. Ooh, yellow. That's not bad. A club. Nope. Not even worth it. So the dagger is meant to support the sword. When you fight with an unaccompanied thing, if it's not another sword, it's basically a tag along. It's basically your shield, no matter what it is. If it can attack, it's great. I mean, with the wand, you can hit them with it. Ideally, you do. Oop. Let me switch my magic. Actually, I'm gonna use the fireball. Oh, I gotta actually go up this wall. Alright, you sons of bitches. Time for the battle mage. So you want to be up in front with this. That's how it's done. Alright, this is iron gate normally, but adding a dagger. Or, in this case, a wand. So you can, like, just have this cooking. And hit him with it. Oh, that one doesn't shoot. Alright. So this is my long tail guard, just with a dagger. You want to basically, instead of maybe being out here, you want it defending your face. You can also do that with the sword too. But see how it defended with both places? Or with both weapons? You don't want to rely on the dagger, you want the dagger to assist. You want the dagger to follow the sword. Because you can hold it. Let's say you do that, you hold it, and then now you can lift their sword up while you bring yours around. Or when you defend this way, you're moving around and attack that way. You know, it's meant to kind of lock up their shit. Bam. Okay, here's the big guy. You're using magic too, huh? I don't really like this fireball for fighting. It's powerful, but it's... Ah. So you can block him here, and then go around the back side. Oh. Like that. Partisan. Similar to spear, a little shorter. Kind of like the two-handed spear, but or the two-edged spear. Not as good. Man, I can't fucking throw shit in any game. Alright, what weapon should I use, guys? Let me know. Alright, let's do bow fighting. Let's do some bow fighting here. So, in my ranger character, I basically have a bow, a dagger, and a sword. But your bow is basically like, you know, your shield. So you just draw, shoot, defend, shoot. You son of a bitch. Except I've noticed the bow's a little weaker with the defense along the outsides, especially. Like the handle can pretty much block anything, but you know, if you're relying on the edge of the bow, it doesn't always work. But yeah, I would do that. Alright, let's see two swords. My wizard powers. Wait. Looking for a hammer. Looking for a big ass hammer. Because the hammer you play a little differently than the other pole axes, but it's kind of the same. It's that like dominant shoulder backward, weapon on your shoulder kind of position that you want to be mainly in. Alright, let's go to the porter's lodging. Alright, we got time for a little more here. What's I gonna use? Two swords. Alright, you sons of bitches. Like the way you kind of play two swords is either you keep them together or you like move them together and then do something else. Like you block and then you keep that there and strike low. And I know it didn't work that time, but if you block like this, you know, you're holding their sword there, and you keep your sword holding it and let it slide out, you know, that way, at the same time as you drop your other one, strike to the leg. You know, that's kind of like the way you want to fight. It's not like you're not just doing this. You know, in real life, if you're fighting with two swords, you want them to be effective and not get hung up on each other. You want two swords to be better than one, not as agile and good as someone with one sword. See how I defend? I attacked him here, but also defended myself forward, and then I defended my head and my body as sweeping up. Oops, shit. See, I blocked here. This followed his sword to defend. That came down. These are things that, like, you know, little subtleties that I've gotten good at, but that's kind of how you want to think about it. Block, you know, one hand is defending, the one that's, you know, the shoulder that's forward is kind of the defensive side. And then when you switch, you change shoulders. So like, but two swords can be really fun. All right. Alright, when fighting a lot of enemies, you want to work them to like your right side. You want to be in the iron gate and like work them to one side so your inside is towards all your enemies. So whenever you're defending, it's good for multiple attacks. Ah, he got me. I'm gonna die of gangrene in 3 weeks. Bam. That's how you take out a gang of skeleton zombies. It's just single-hand sword fighting. Alright. Maybe one more before I get off. We'll go back to the two-handed sword. Huzzah! Alright, so you want your point forward in presence. If they roll up on you, just poke them. You know? And use the pommel. To swing it around, kind of like the same idea as the one-handed sword is moving your wrist around instead of doing this. You know, this is more defensive and easier, especially in VR. In real life, it's easier, but, you know, you're really just spinning your wrist around. There's no weight. Same thing with the two-handed sword, except you have to basically cross your wrist and uncross your wrist. And like you're doing the same motion with your right hand, but then your left hand is helping with that and adding to the velocity when you whip it. Ah, son of a bitch. I killed that thing. Ooh, I got caught on that. So yeah, if you parry this side, it's easy, just unwind. Just unwind and switch your feet. From here, you just spin to the outside and bring the hammer down. Huh, maybe I was just too close to him. Fucking bats. Hammer. So from here you can stab. You can cut this way. Or you can cut this way. Bam. From the right. Or bam from the left. But then you'd switch your body. Usually, if this is a heavy ass sword and you were swinging it and you were like this, and you swung it over your shoulder, the momentum of the weapon is going to keep going forward. Where you either step forward or switch your feet, or in some cases step back. But either way, your shoulder and your body is rotating every time you swing a heavy weapon. So you want to think about that even if you're fighting in VR. You don't want to do this because you're gonna fuck your joints up, man. You're gonna hit stuff. You're gonna bust your fingers on the walls, and it's gonna tire you out, and it's not gonna be fun. Instead of going like this, go like this. You basically keep your right hand still and rotate the pommel, so the sword, you turn your palm, you turn your wrist down, so it goes down and you move out to the outside, and then it comes back to the same spot. Think about it like that. So when you do that, you can either block this way and attack that way, or like this way and attack. Wait, I just did that. No, yeah. That way and attack that way, or block. Oh, well. That's what I'm saying. Like, most of this shit is only right-handed attacks. Here we go. Alright, so fighting with the hammer, pole axe, anything like that. So your bread and butter with the axe or the hammer or anything heavy, anything with a heavy end, but not much else, you're going to be having it over your shoulder because it's easy to bring it down. It's either bring it down and cover yourself and attack at the same time, or bring it low. So you can basically bring it anywhere you want to defend. If it's coming, this side, you can just, since it's already raised, you can just move. So that's the idea, is that this is your bread and butter. This attack here. And as soon as you do that, then you get ready to defend this way. Like, you leave the heavy part down, you just bring your handle around, and you can actually do this to switch back like that. So a good strategy is to roll up on something. As soon as they attack you, block them. Straight from here, just bring this down and switch your feet. If anyone else is around, or if that guy follows up with an attack, you just bring this across your body to defend it, and then bring it down, and then you're back to your home. So there's little combos and stuff you can do once you kind of figure out the body mechanics. That was like an attack block. Alright, here's some more skeletons. It was uneven ground. Alright, let me take them all on. Alright. Long sword versus all the skeletons. Finally got those fucking things out of the way. Almost. Alright. I gotta get those freaking bats. Give me a bat. Fuckers. This needs to be a fair fight. It means the bat needs to die. Quintuocha. Alright, here we go. Yeah, so when fighting multiple enemies, you want to have them towards the inside of your body. If you can. You don't want them to go to the outside. But you can use the outside if you do an attack. But you want to keep them one direction. So this whole movement can be a defense. So you attack, you defend and attack at the same time. Dexterity, no. Well, I think that's probably about it, guys. One more wreckage with the double swords. It's an egg. It's a sword egg. Alright. Ooh, nice. Big guy. See, my front hand is my defensive arm. Yeah. Try to keep them towards your inside, or at least one side of your body. Alright, this guy's fast or something. Alright, it's 1-on-1. Meh. Well, I think that's it, guys. I'm gonna head out, but thanks for watching. If you did enjoy this, this is part of a YouTube video that I'm recording for. But if you are watching live, don't forget to give the channel a follow. Check out some of my other videos. I do other martial arts, hand-to-hand combat, style of kung fu called Wing Chun, if you've heard of it. And then also, yeah, more sword videos, some shooting, tactical combat videos. But yeah, check me out, and catch you guys in the next one. Lost in Character out.